breast cancer awareness. Janice Bracken is here to tell her story on Where Were You? Well, hello, Janice Bracken. How are you?
Hi, Billy Parsons. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Simply fantastic. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for asking. Well, I'm so glad that you came, especially during this month on Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I know that you had that bout and you didn't mind sharing your story with us on Where Were You?
Right.
For me, could you start from the beginning? I mean, like, what made you go when you first discovered, and then into the story.
Okay. Well, I worked at the hospital where I got my mammogram done. So by working at the hospital, you were basically required to get a yearly physical, and then women would be allowed to get their mammograms done as well. And it was August 9th, and I went to get my mammogram done. Thought nothing of it because I'd been doing it for years already and everything was always fine. So just went about my business. And 2 days later, I did medical transcription. And my supervisor, who was a very close friend of mine, wanted to take me out to lunch. And I said, no, we are so backed up. We can't take lunch today. It was a eat at your desk day. No, get your coat, want to go out to lunch.
Okay.
Well, okay, you're the boss. Off we go to lunch. And we get in her car and she just sort of broke down. She really started crying.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Dr. Hammer, who was the radiologist, told me to do your report. He didn't want anybody else in our office to do it. And they found something and he wants to see you up in his office right now. So we did not go to lunch. I did not get any lunch. I went up to see him, and by working in the hospital, I knew all of the radiologists. I knew several of the surgeons. And he said, Janice, I want to talk to you. What we got is something very new. He said, you're a month late for your mammogram. If you had been here a month ago, it might not have even shown up. He said, but by you waiting the month, it showed up. He said, and why did you wait? I said, because I have one kid going back to college, one kid just starting college, another one going into 7th grade, and another one going into 5th. And I just been really busy getting them prepared.
So, really, you're a busy mother.
Always.
Always. And when did this happen in your life?
It was August 9th of 1999. It was just 23. I just passed the 23-year mark. Anyway, I said I just needed to get all my kids ready and the 2 kids ready for, to go back to college and so on. And so he said, well, the type of cancer that you have, it's not a lump or a tumor. It's like fireworks. He says it's like a big burst and it is covering the whole left side. Said, I already talked to Dr. Haydary, who ended up is my surgeon and did the mastectomies, but he and his wife were also friends of mine. 2 of our boys played on the same soccer team together. So that's why I say it was very comforting for me to know these doctors and have them know me by first name. Not everybody has that opportunity when they're thrown into this situation. So it was comforting for me.
So you had real confidence, not only because you worked there, but you knew these people.
I knew the doctors.
And
yes.
They kind of told you the extent
yes.
of your cancer, and they just were
yes.
straight with you and told you this is what you need to do.
Exactly. So Dr. Hammer said, I already talked to Dr. Haydary. I want him to be your surgeon. I know that you know him. And he said his recommendation is that we do a bilateral mastectomy. He said, because the type of cancer you have is going to spread since it's not one tumor or one lump. Since it's like fireworks in there, it is going to spread, called mirrored cancer.
Mirrored cancer. There you go. So this is on. This isn't just like one lump or something. This is
No.
like a cluster. Like you said,
Not
just
even a cluster. It was like when a fireworks go off and they go in the sky like this and they
yeah.
open up this way. It was like that. There were just little pieces of it all over. So his recommendation was a bilateral mastectomy because he said it could be a month, it could be a year, but it is going to mirror itself. And you are going to be back with cancer in the other breast. So Dr. Haydary got on the phone immediately because back then, unless it was already in the other side, insurance would not cover a bilateral. He fought with them for 5 days, and on the 5th day, he got their approval to go ahead and do the bilateral. On the 6th day, they brought me into the hospital and the mastectomy started. So meanwhile, back at home, I decided I wasn't going to tell my 2 older sons because I wanted them to go away to college with a clear head, not going there and being concerned with what's going on with me or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was my choice, to let them be happy and go off to college, and I would deal with them and tell them what happened afterwards, after they settled in and got their footing at school. Okay. The other 2, my daughter was going into 7th grade, my youngest son was going into 5th. I had so many consults and doctor appointments and medical calls coming in, I had to tell them because I had to get them to the school bus on their first day. So we all went out we had a sunroom in our Crystal Lake house. We went out there, them and me, and I told them, I said, I had my physical and I had a mammogram and they found something on it. I'm going to be very proactive and go in and get it all removed. And my daughter just sat staring out the window. And my 5th grader, who was very active in the kitchen, he liked doing like new smoothies and little appetizer things and stuff. And by the way, now he is a fireman paramedic with a wife and 2 children, and he's their chief cook at the fire station. He's an excellent cook. Okay. Anyway, he would always make these concoctions and stuff. And his answer was, does this mean we can't drink out of the same cup anymore? And I said, no, I think we'll be okay to do that. If you got anything else to ask me or whatever. He didn't want to say too much right then with my daughter in the room. We talked a little more later, but his initial thing was just to be sure that we could still drink out of the cup so I could taste all the things he made. And my daughter just would not talk. She wouldn't look. She just kept staring out the window.
Probably in shock.
Yeah, she was
in shock.
Yeah, she was scared.
Were you afraid?
Mostly afraid of having to leave them. I don't panic too much. I've had many things happen and I don't panic too much, but my concern was them, and she proved that to me. Later that afternoon, I walked past her room and I heard her crying. Mm-hmm. And I went in there and all she said was, "Are you going to die?" And I said, "Absolutely not." Amen. And she said, "Well, how do you know that, Mom? I know about cancer. How do you know that?" I said, "Because your father would not know how to take care of you kids. I can't leave you alone." So you're going to live no matter what. That's right. My children will be taken care of. So 2 days later, I brought her to the bus stop, and then I brought him to a different bus stop, and I went to the hospital and the surgery started. And they did the bilateral mastectomies. And they started a reconstruction, but to do the reconstruction, what they're basically doing is putting valves in there so that they could inflate them. And then
this is the first time I heard about valves. I thought they were just little the little jelly ball.
No,
thing.
Because what happens with my kind of cancer, they had to cut all the skin off. They had to cut everything. They had to go as close to all the muscle as possible and take everything off because they really had no way of knowing how far all these little pieces of cancer shot out. So they took everything, and they took out 20 lymph nodes out of my left underarm. And those, thank goodness, all came back negative.
Introducing new meat, a very new product for your skin. And oh, for the inside? Oh yes, we have something there for you as well. Together, it is a health choice that I'm sure you will enjoy. Check it out. New meat.
The mastectomies did take away everything, including all the skin. When they sew the little bit of leftover skin back together, in order to be able to put implants in there, you have to be able to stretch the skin that is left. Like if you've got skin on your head, if you sew this together, you can't stretch it to put an implant or anything underneath it. So they had to, every week I would have to go in on Friday and get this water pumped in there so that it would stretch the skin. And that was extremely painful. And that went on for close to 2 years.
Wait a minute. Wait. I don't know how to ask this.
Just ask.
If they pump for 2 years, how much water, or how much, I guess what I'm trying to say is how much pumping is 2 years?
Well, for me, it was like a 36C to get back to where I was.
Okay, that's kind of what I was trying to
you can only, it depends on how bad the pain is. Every week, the pain tolerance seemed to be different. Some weeks they could put in maybe 20, I don't quite recall if they called it milligrams or micrograms. I don't remember what they called it at the time, but sometimes I could tolerate only 20. Sometimes I could be really tough and tolerate 40. But whatever I tolerated, I would sleep sitting up for the next 2 nights because the pain was just too much to lay flat. But then after those 2 years and you're looking basically normal again, then I was able to go back into the hospital and have those implants with valves removed and have regular implants put in that some people do just to enhance or firm up or whatever. Mine were simply to make me look like myself again.
Is that still considered an implant? Even, I guess it is an implant, but I mean, what's the procedure before that again?
Mastectomies?
With the valve.
Well, that is the reconstructive process.
Okay.
Construct.
Well, can I ask another question?
Certainly.
It might sound kind of silly, but when they take the meat out, I don't know what you would call it. Okay. Then you say they sew the skin back together.
Yes, they take all the tissue out. They take everything.
Even the skin.
Yes. They cut the skin off as well because they didn't know if the cancer had gone all the way into the skin.
So they took everything.
Everything.
So did you have to grow more skin?
Well, that's what the stretching reconstructive process was for, and that's why it was painful, because it's skin that was meant to be taut, and we're trying to stretch it, pulling it up like this so that it could make me look like a female again.
Oh, you look like a female, Janice. Yeah, you know that. Okay, now Janice, so you went through the procedure. Did you really like what it did for you? I mean, were you satisfied with the procedure?
I was. I certainly was. I mean, it was certainly not what I would have chosen to happen, but the fact that it did, and I was still in my 40s when it happened, I did want the reconstructive process done. I didn't want to be like that. If I was as old as I am now, maybe I wouldn't even bother with that whole 2-year process of reconstruction and trying to stretch the skin and getting the implants. But that was 23 years ago. You know, I wanted it then. I wanted to look like myself again and wear the same clothes I used to wear and not all baggy t-shirts and things like that. So very satisfied with it considering it had to be done at all.
Okay, I'm glad you're happy because that sounds like a lot. Now, on this journey, you mentioned about the doctors. Were there other institutions or other groups that were dealing with the same type issue that you got with, or did you solo?
No, I pretty much just soloed. Um, I was asked by my surgeon, Dr. Haydary, several times he would call and say, "Oh, we got somebody else, you know, that's coming in and they're really not doing well. Can we have them call you or whatever?" And they would call me as many times as they need to, and we'd talk, and I'd hopefully convince them that they had the best surgeon, which I believe they did,
Okay.
and that it would be worth it. And yes, there is a lot of pain involved in it. And you need to know when you go in, you need to go in and say, I am coming out and I am going to be fine.
Amen.
And this is not how I'm going out.
So when you made that decision, that was kind of your mindset.
Exactly.
The kids, no, not now. We're going to put this on hold.
Right.
This is
Right.
not now.
Well, even now, I've got grandkids I intend to see grow up and get married
Amen.
and things like that. No place to go other than their houses to babysit.
And you love it.
I love it. Yes.
Could you say that one more
Yes, I
time?
do.
I love it. You said that.
I love it. I love it, and I love every one of them so much. And yeah,
And if you had to
they
go
are.
through the pain again, you'd do it.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would, because so far it has given me 23 years.
See, that's the beautiful thing about it. In your case, you beat it. It sounded like you didn't really mess around with it. Once your doctors told you your situation, you just dealt with it.
Exactly. I told the two kids that I needed to. We went over to my mom and dad's house. I brought ice cream, their favorite ice cream, and apple pie. And
Okay.
that's what I gave them so that I could tell them. And just I sort of made up a bit of a story and told them they see something that doesn't look good, but before it turns into something bad, we're going to be proactive and take care of it. Not tell my parents I actually already had it. I told them that my mammogram showed something, and I'm making a choice to go in and get everything taken care of before it turns into something dangerous. So that relieved them a little bit.
Had anyone else in your family had breast cancer?
Not a person, not an aunt on either side, not a grandparent on either side, not any one of my 26 first cousins. I have never been a smoker. I've never been a drinker. I have never been overweight. I've been a runner. I work out. I eat a lot of junk food, but I also eat right.
Okay.
You know, it was just what was meant to be.
Well, Janice, that's
So
pretty remarkable. I love the part about you're still here, you're not going anywhere.
too
And
much to do.
and if you had some advice or if there was something that you could tell someone that may have just faced this, a young lady as yourself, what would kind of be your advice when they were facing this and scared and not knowing what to do?
I would say just be sure you're with a doctor that you're confident in. And if you are, between your positive attitude and their expertise, you will be okay. Eventually, you will come out of this and it will be okay.
Had you ever like been re-diagnosed or did it ever flare up again?
It has not, thank goodness. But I also really have nothing left there that is real. I have nothing real. other women that I know that have only had one side mastectomy, or they've simply had a lump removed or whatever, they have more concerns about it with themselves than I would, because everything of mine was taken away. You know, the old God giveth and God taketh away. It was all taken away. So everything that I have there is really plastic.
I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. When people get breast cancer, should they go on and just remove everything? Or is
No.
it a case? Okay.
No, absolutely not. Everyone is different. A majority of the women that have a lump, and if they're fortunate enough to catch it as a very small lump, they will just continue going for their mammograms, maybe double up on them. But there's a good chance it will never come back again. So no, they don't take the whole breast off if they don't need to.
But in your case, with the fireworks,
Yeah,
it was spreading and scattering, and if it gets out,
yes,
then it'll get worse.
exactly. Because there was no way to pick everything out from where it was, because it was spread all throughout. So the surest way to control it was to get rid of all of it. I think being scared hopefully will never make somebody be too afraid to go back and do what they need to do, because they could have 23 or 33 or 43 more years if they take care of it properly.
That's what our audience needs to hear. And I'm so glad that you stopped by and chatted with us a little while. Everything's going okay for you now. You're a happy grandma.
Very much so.
And your
Yes,
children
10
are
babies.
woo! And your children are all happy.
So far, everybody is doing very well. I've had some other problems, but never anything like that. That was like the biggest surprise ever when they said that, that that's what I had. And then all the other tests that I had came out clear. And it's like, what? All the stuff I was concerned with came out just fine. And this was like, oh, we're getting you in the hospital. You're going right now. We're going to take care of business. And okay, let's go.
You caught it in the nick of time.
That was the strangest thing. Like I said, everything for a reason. And Dr. Hammer had said, if you came in a month ago on your scheduled time, this might not have even been there. It was that brand new, and yet it did that much damage already.
So we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I would have missed an awful lot if I wasn't.
Yes, 10.
Yeah, 10.
Okay.
This one is 14 days old. She's brand spanking new.
Oh, you have your hands full.
Yeah, and the one after that is 5 months old.
Wait a minute.
And then they're two different ones. 2 are my daughter and 2 are my son.
Okay.
And then my other 2 sons, their kids are already a little bit older.
Okay.
And then it took my daughter a while before she decided to have kids. So there's sort of a break in there. There's an 8-year break in there. And then she's got a 20-month-old and a 5-month-old. And then the son has a 15-month-old and a 2-week-old. So there are 4 new ones. And then I have 6 that go from 21 to 9.
Well, you have a large family.
Yeah. My oldest son has 4 kids, so he's the one who started this whole ball rolling here. Oh, Billy, one more thing.
Yes.
9 of them are girls.
Oh, my Lanta. 9.
I have a granddaughter, then a grandson, and then 7 more granddaughters. Yeah.
Wow. Well, your story is amazing. I'm glad you told it to us.
Thank you. It was fun telling it, actually.
Okay.
So,
well, Janice, I'm really thankful that you stopped by. And I'm going to keep praying for you. And I hope everything stays very, very what do they call it, negative for you?
Negative.
Yeah, we want to
that's it.
stay
Yeah.
on that tip. We'll keep it negative. But I really thank you. I thank you, my sister.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
And you do know this is our Breast Cancer Awareness Week. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you very much.
Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today.